So in the previous video, you got an understanding on how to view your dashboard and the different elements of WordPress. What we're going to do now is we're going to jump into your theme and just show you how the theme options work, listing types and the listings, and give you an explanation on how that all works. So 27 theme, these are your theme options here. This all runs on your theme. This is what your theme is built from. So as you can see, that's where your logo is, that's where your color is, your background per page, your loading color, your loading screen, you want it to be a logo, and all of that. You go to your header, different, like your sticky header. Your sticky is when it scrolls down onto the website. But there's another header that we built for you, so we won't have to worry about that too much, but at least that way you can understand how the theme works. Your footer, as you can see there, you show in the footer, show menu footer, all of this. Your explore is where they view the site. So if we just had to go here, open in another tab. So if we go to your front end and go explore places, I always like to work in two different tabs. So this here is your explore page. So if you had to go to this section here, explore, you'll be operating on this page here. Okay, this is your single listing, how you want it to appear, transparent. So you can play around with it. You do not have to worry. If you do break something, I do have a backup from the day before. So before you make any major changes to the site, make sure you do it in like on a Tuesday, then I can just restore the backup on the Monday. So you don't have to worry about breaking the site. You just got to email me to say restore the backup and I'll do it for you. This is your blog. You don't have to worry about that. Custom code. You don't really have to worry about that. Shop page. These are just the functions that have been set up that you don't really need to worry too much about because they're all kind of set, but you can play around with it to get a feel of your site. Your performance, we will cover in another video. It's basically your cache. I don't preferably like to use this version. I like to use another one that runs the whole site. This basically only runs certain elements, I have installed another one. So you don't really have to worry about this, and please don't enable it because you will get conflicts. So your listing status, your listings are your properties. So as you can see, your cache. So what the cache is, if it was enabled, if a new listing would say come on at 9 o'clock, the system will refresh it and then users will be able to see it at 10 o'clock, which is what we don't really want. So that's why I don't like using this version of the caching. So the stat box is, you can see here, so when you go to the dashboard, so if we had to go to my dashboard here, all of these statistics here will all get operated if you want to enable devices, view blocks, and this and that. That's where you would enable it. Your map services, that's been configured. That's just an API key, which you don't have to worry about. I've already done it there. So your user roles, you don't really have to worry about that because we want everything to be signed up as a customer. Okay, if you can give them more roles, but we don't want to, because then, remember, if they sign up, they're a customer. They don't need access to anything else on the site. So your direct messages is where if you go to a listing, you can actually message them directly, which we've enabled. So it's up to you whether you want to or not. Social login, I would not advise doing that. I'm against it because most people sign up with a Facebook email address that they used years ago that they don't even have access to anymore. So then all the emails that you send in them will just bounce back. So that's why I don't like enabling that function. The other, you don't really have to worry about that. Short codes is whether you want to put them on different pages. We don't need to worry about that because we're going to be using Elementor. So the import demo, we don't need to worry about. In the documentation, if you get stuck on anything on how to do things, you can refer to the documentation of the theme here, and you type it in and it will give you documentation. All right, so your listing types. So your listing types, we have 5 different listing types. So we've got car rentals. That's if people want to sell or rent their cars to, your specific people in the wheelchairs. Jobs, accommodation, places, and events. So accommodation is obviously self-explanatory. bed and breakfast, hotel or whatnot. Jobs is if they've got a job. Car rentals. Your places are your businesses. So for example, my business, Host Fatty, I would put my listing under places, right? And then I would say unfortunately where my office is not wheelchair friendly, so I would get graded as a 1 on that, 1 star. So, and then your event, if there's any events coming up. So you've got those 5 different categories that people can sign up for. If you wanted to add a new one, you would add a new one. I wouldn't recommend playing around and editing these too much, because it can get quite complicated, because you can change the structure of the layout. So we've agreed the layout. So if there's a massive change, then I would prefer to work with you on that hand in hand on making that change. But however, you can log in and change it, but I won't be creating a video on that because it gets quite complicated and you could break something. So your listings. So if you go to your listings are all the things that have been added to your website. So you can see here, you've got the name of the business, you've got the location, you've got the category, the region, the tags. The tags are just actually little keywords. If the client doesn't put them in, you don't have to worry about it. The reviews, priority, normal, status, published, and then all of them are shown under me. I will show you how to add them into your user account so that you can use that as practice when you've signed up. And then expired. So currently all of these places are not going to expire. When they do sign up, it will give them you'll be able to see the expiry date there. So if you wanted to add a new one, which will be another video, you would click there, categories. If you click categories, you would go to, as you can see here, different categories. There they all are. If you've got for example, let's use activity. If you type in activity, your slug will go -1. Your slug is your URL. So if we had to just do a quick edit, that is the slug. So it will be wheelsandfillstravel.com/activity, or if you add another one, it will be wheelsandfillstravels.com/activity-1, which we want to stay away from. So you would call that outdoor activities if you wanted one. All right, so then you got your regions. You got your regions here. As you can see, you've got Dubai, England, Bath, Cambridge, and this and that. I would advise every now and again trying to add a new one. Cambridge, then you've got St Neots. You've got, in England, obviously, St Neots. You've got a Bath, it's right there, but you know, I've gone Southampton, then you've got Manchester, you've got all of those different areas. So when you get a chance, just region. So if we had to add Manchester, let's just add it quickly. Manchester. What we'll do is parent region, we'll select it as England. Okay, and then we'll just go add region. And as you can see, it's gone as a sub underneath there. If you didn't give it a parent, then what it would do is it will just be like England as a main one, and that's what we don't want. If, for example, you wanted to say you only want people in England to sign up using the business directory, that's when you can allocate them here. But you don't. You want if someone signs up for Manchester, for event, for whatever. So that's why you just don't. You leave this section blank. Alright, that's how you add your regions, your category, your tags. Sorry, your tags are basically the features. Accept credit cards, airbags. So if you think of any features that you can add on, I mean, this is because of the site. Your site will forever be growing. So you'll be sitting at CrossFit one day and you'll be going, oh, okay. That's a good one. You'd log onto your phone and you would add it. You can do this on your phone. I do it on my phone. You just got to get familiarized with it on your phone. So your car brands here, this one here, as you can see, again, you'll be sitting down. I'm not a car guy, unfortunately, so you'll be sitting down going, okay, Toyota, then you've got Hilux, you've got Corolla, and you've got the new X Hilux or X Cross or whatever they're called. So you'll forever be adding things for it. Your vacancies, so full-time, freelance, intern, part-time, temporary. You can put contract work or whatever you want. So those are there. Then you've got your qualifications, but they need to be diplomas. So anything like the salary, you can think of anything that you can put in there. Okay, so as you can see, it's kind of self-explanatory when you get to the feel of things. So with your settings, you want paid listings. Yes, we want it because you need to start making money off the site. So if you got Bob down the road that wants to sign up, and you've agreed to give him the listing for free for 12 months, what you would do is that you would create Bob a user account, which we would get into, ask for all of information. You would add the listing and then assign his listing to his user account and put an expiry date on his expiry date, and then in a year's time, or however many months, you would the system will notify him that he needs to sign up. All right. This one here you don't really need to worry about. It's in case you think of anything else. You can go annual salary, like that's monthly. You can go annual salary. You can do whatever you want with this section here. They're just set up for basic. I mean, obviously, if you want to go really advanced, you can go into it. The claims entries, that's if, for example, let's say I sell, I have a car wash business called Faddy's Car Wash. If I sell it and I forgot to give this guy the username, he can sign up and claim the listing, and you can contact me going, is this correct? I go, yes, and then you can actually allow him to claim the listing. So it kind of, it saves a lot of paperwork doing it like this. It can be done automatically, but I would advise you to do it yourself. Reports, obviously you can just, over time you'll see your listing reports, reported listings. So if someone says a bad rating, to say this is a false advertisement listing, it will appear underneath here. So that's basically how you would understand your theme. Again, you're going to have to play around with it. I can explain in 2-hour video on in depth, but you don't really need to. This is basically the work around your themes, so play around with it. Remember, I do have a backup, so you won't break anything. And if you want to add things, add them, but just don't hit update and you'll be fine. The next video, I'm going to show you how to add a listing.